Today I'm giving you the ultimate step-by-step guide to install AIG Traffic Models packages. If you ever struggled to get it right or been stuck with errors, this video will save you hours of frustration. Guys, make sure to watch all the way through, because I'll be covering every single step you need to know to install everything successfully. Alright guys, so without any unnecessary talking, let's jump to it. Please follow my video closely. If you do every step what I'm showing you in this video, you will definitely have it working, okay? So this is the main site of AIG, okay? So first thing first, you need to download AI Manager beta version 2024, which is this one. So this is an article. If you click on it, you will get some information about it, and you want to click on the GitHub link over here. And then that'll open another GitHub site where you can download it from here. This is the AIG AI Manager version 1.3.0.5. Once it is downloaded, you want to go to that folder and you want to unzip it. Okay, so obviously you just have to unzip it. So let's do that. And now we have it there. When you open that folder after you unzip it, this is the executable file, which we will open in a second. But I want to point out also something which I didn't say in my last video, and that is that it does include two PDF files, the tutorial and manual. Now, we're not gonna look at it at this video. It's not really necessary because I'm gonna follow step-by-step installation. However, it is there for your information. So if you are having specific issues, you can open these PDF files and they are very well self-explanatory, easy to follow. But then again, I'm gonna show it to you in this video, so you don't really have to do it. But be aware that these files are included within that file which you downloaded. Next thing, what we have to do is open the AIG Manager, okay? It'll start opening. You will see this kind of logo, and there is a drop-down menu, as you can see. Well, why does it happen? Because I still have MSFS 220 installed. I'm not really using it. I'm actually thinking to completely uninstall it, but because it is still installed, that's why you get this option. Now, I have received a comment from one of my followers that he couldn't see this option. And the reason being, and that is also in one of those manuals, the reason being is if you have only one of the simulator installed, then you will most likely not see this option, or it would be automatically selected one way or another. In my case, because I do have both simulators installed, then that's why I have this choice, right? But because we are talking about MSFS 224, make sure it's selected, MSFS 224. It's very small little drop-down menu, so it may be easily missed, so pay attention. And then click OK. Then the actual AIG Manager will open. In the beginning, it's gonna be fast because nothing is set up just yet. I'm gonna make it bigger. So this is the main screen of AI Manager. So first thing first you want to do, the very first step once you have this screen in front of you, is to set up OCI. OCI stands for One-Click Installer. Okay, that's what it stands for. So you can either click it over here or you can click it over here. It doesn't really matter. It's gonna say no package detected because obviously you don't have that file installed. So I'm gonna click on it once. Then there will be some kind of introduction. So we want to click next. And then this is the part what I was talking about a little bit in my previous video. So I will explain it again. By default, you can see that it's kind of grayed out, okay? By default, it's pointing to install this OCI directory to a community folder of my Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. However, guys, even though you can do it and the installer doesn't necessarily tell you not to, I strongly, I'm gonna repeat it, advise do not do that, because I did it at first time. And then I had so many issues with textures, I had to literally delete it again and start all over. The reason being is when it was installing all those flight plans and textures, I was receiving a pop-up windows constantly, almost after every livery was installed, that the path to the file is way too long and I may expect some issues in the simulator. So we want to avoid it. And to avoid it from the very beginning is to select the completely different folder from completely different storage. Well, of course, it can be the same storage. However, you want to make this path as short as possible. For that reason, I have already prepared my files over here. I have selected my storage E. Well, again, it depends what you have. You may have 4 drives, you may have 3 drives. It's something individual, but you get my point. And let's do create new folder, and let's just name it however you guys prefer to name it, okay? I'm gonna name it AIG Robert, for example. Easy to remember, and I know that this is the file. Just hit enter, then you can minimize it, and then you can go to here, back to your installer of OCI directory, and you can click select, then navigate to that folder you created, which this is the one, AIG Robert, and click OK. Now, as you can see, the file path for that OCI package is prepared, and it's going to be in drive E -AIG Robert -AIG -AI Traffic -OCI. So this is the actual file, OCI file, AIG -AI Traffic -OCI. That's the one, okay? But notice that it's very short path. That's what I mean. You know very well that the community folder is buried deep inside many folders, and that was the issue. That is the really big issue, so please don't do that. You're gonna save yourself so much time, because if you keep it and point it to your community folder, you are just asking for troubles. So please avoid it. I'm telling you right away before we start doing anything else. Then it says software required, AIG Traffic Controller. Well, it's not really required, but I'll get to it at the end of this video. So at the moment, just make sure to set up the OCI location and then hit next. Then it's gonna come to this screen. This is something I also didn't mention, unfortunately, in my previous video. Some of you might be aware of a AFSIM website. I call it AFSIM, maybe it's pronounced differently. And I have it actually open. It is, let me show you, this one. We're not talking about AFSIM Home, but AFSIM Library, okay? This is the one. Again, I am going to leave all these links in the description of the video. I am already logged in there in this website. I just wanted to show you which website I'm talking about, okay? This is a free account. You don't have to pay nothing at all. And that's why, in my case, it automatically recognized that I am logged in AFSIM. So it says logged in, okay? Guys, if you do not have that account, there will be different button where you can go, it'll take you to that website. You can create the account or sign up, basically. It's really literally a 2-minute step. You're gonna use your email or your username, and then you're gonna choose your password, and voila, that's it. All right, and then you're gonna put those credentials over here because it's gonna prompt you to log in. So make sure to either log in when it's prompting you to log in, and then wait a little bit, because when you do that from here, okay, this is also important to mention. When you do that from here, if it's logged out, it may look for a moment once you put the credentials in that it's kind of froze. Because that really happened to me. It kind of looked, it was froze or not responding. Please give it a little bit of time. It will eventually show this logged in. Please do not panic. It will work. However, if for some specific reason it does freeze and you cannot do nothing, use Ctrl-Alt-Delete, Task Manager, close it, restart it again, and do it again, and then it'll work. Again, ideally, you want to be logged in, okay? When we have this kind of message where it says logged in, we click next. And then the window disappears, but actually it does work, because if we look down on right-hand side, on the right corner, there is like a process bar. It's kind of like a little blue bar. Basically, what is it doing now? It's creating all that OCI package. And I will return to the video as soon as this step is done. All right, guys, let's continue. Now, something had happened, and it did happen to me before as well, so I want to point it out. This is also very important, so please listen. As you see, I have waited a little bit and it's still doing its thing, but it's not finishing. However, this is some kind of bug. So what we have to do, if you are waiting, let's say over 2 minutes, because it should be a relatively quick process, you literally have to hard close it and restart the AIG manager. Unfortunately, it seems like a bug, but don't worry, because if you go to your folder, which you created, in my case, it was on storage E, AIG Robert, the file is already there, okay? So not to be worried about that. We want to just end task, okay? It'll hard close it. Not ideal, but that's what we have to do. So then we will go back to where we installed it. Now again, make sure it's 2024 selected and click OK. And then when you do that, look what happened. Now we have package detected. So it was already installed. It's just that that software has some kind of bug where it doesn't really close by itself. This step is done. Okay, we're gonna move on. What we did, we just created OCI package. This was the very crucial first step, okay? And we can also double check it because it's gonna say here, OCI package location. And if you look here, that's where it tells us where we have the folder. At the moment, do not worry about this not being in community folder. We will do that at the end, okay? So I will explain everything. Our next step is to start downloading the flight plans. You have couple options, okay? But before we jump to that, very quickly, I want to mention something briefly. There are two kind of orange windows, let's call it warning windows. One of them says payware models, and at the moment, freeware only is enabled. And then downloads, manual downloads are disabled. Well, the reason being for that if you want to let this package install like completely all the flight plans, which is the best and ideal scenario, because in that case you have the full experience of all the models and all the liveries and everything, then in that case it's not gonna stop in the middle of installation asking you manually download something. When I say manually download, it may happen that some airlines have these flight plans zipped, located on those AFSIM websites or basically AFSIM website, if I put it this way. So it wants you literally just to confirm to download it manually. And once it's saved on your folder of your choice in the computer, then it'll prompt you another window where you click select and just manually select that file, the zip file. You don't have to unzip it, but you will select the whole zip file. This is the reason why I would suggest myself to have this disabled, okay? Manual downloads. Now, it does say here, tip, enable this feature to get all available files for OCI. Well, yes, of course, but if you want to sit in front of the computer all these hours, then that's really up to you. You can do that. Will you miss a lot if you keep it disabled? Absolutely not. You will still have an amazing experience with all of the packages which will be automatically installed. I guarantee you that, guys. But let's just go to the next step, which is more important, and that is installing the actual OCI flight plans packages. So we have this button here, right? If I click on this button, what it will do is gonna install the complete, like basically a full package, okay, at once. Which again, if you're gonna do it, let's say overnight, well, I think this is the best option. Obviously, like you will just let it install everything at one go. But you can also go to, let's just say you want to test it first, okay? How does it work? Maybe you only fly within Europe or something like that. So then in that case, you have this option here. It says quick install, you see? Quick install. So I want you to go here and then you see a couple options here. You have global, North America, Europe, and Africa. For some reason, I couldn't find anywhere the information why. South America and Asia, it's like disabled. However, if we go here, just to show you something, flight plans, and then online, notice when it says installed, the top, there's nothing because we didn't install anything just yet. But if we click online, it'll show us that 1,866 packages are available and waited to be installed. So if you click on this button right here, all of these over here will be installed at one go. However, guys, please listen carefully. If you do it, do count with good 6, maybe even more hours, maybe a little bit less. So if your internet is for some reason very slow or weak, it's going to be a very long process. I'm warning you in the beginning because I believe this is fair to say it, to be honest about it, to be transparent about it. This will depend on your internet connection. I just wanted to put it out there, let you know. I know this is a lengthy process. I am fully aware of that. But believe me, at least from my personal perspective and being absolutely a huge aviation fan and flight sim fan, I believe it's very worth it. The AIG package, the full package, will bring you an amazing immersion of the models around yourself when you're flying. We will see how it looks when it starts installing. Then I'll cut into video and I'll continue the video once everything is installed so we can complete this tutorial. Okay? Once you are ready, let's just hit install Flightplans right here. One click. And then immediately you will get this kind of window and it's doing its own thing. You don't have to press nothing else. You don't have to press discontinue. It's already active and it started from the very top. And basically now all these 1866 packages are going to be installed in that folder OCI. Okay, guys, again, please expect a long time. Okay, this is not something what's going to be done in 20 minutes. Absolutely not. If you want something quicker and you want to test it, start with the Europe package. Europe will take you about 1.5 hours and then test it in the sim. And if you are happy, go back and install the rest of them. And as you can see, it's doing its own thing by itself. Now, before I also cut into the video, another important factor. I really suggest you guys doing this because it can affect and mess up your installation. In your PC, I would suggest to go to your settings, then the system and the power, and then the hibernate timeouts right here. And make sure that you change make my device sleep after. And if you have few minutes, let's say if you have 30 minutes here, then what you probably already expect what's going to happen, what you already should know, your computer will go to sleep mode after those 30 minutes. But that sleep mode will affect this package installation. It'll basically freeze. And I know because it did happen to me. So you don't want to make this happen, especially when you are like, let's say after 3 hours of installing and still many others are about to install. Changing this setup in your power in Windows to make it like never. Make my device sleep after, never. The screen turning off, that's different story. It's just related to screen, but the computer still doing its thing, right? And make my device hibernate after, and I also change it to never. Because again, you want your computer to be running during the installation of all these packages, okay? You definitely want to change it. Otherwise, you are facing potential issues. I wanted to point it out. Very important. So guys, let's cut into this moment and I will return into this video once all the flight plans are installed. All right, guys, I am back. So the report is as follows. It's nearly 6 p.m. and I have started this whole installation of all of the flight plans. As you can see, the total number is 1,799. And I started close to 11:30 before noon. So you can count that is roughly 6 hours, maybe 15 minutes, 6 hours and 6.5 hours, something like that. So yes, it's quite a long time to install all of the packages. Again, I truly believe it's worth it. So perhaps you can let it run overnight, but make sure you follow all the suggestions I have mentioned before. Just for the reference, I have 1 gig of the internet, so it's pretty decent and actually very fast internet connection. And still, the whole installation of all of the flight plans OCI packages took about 6.5 hours. So just to let you know, this is a lengthy process. Again, if you do have a slow internet or weak internet connection, it might be really long process. So I would like to warn you. Okay, so now since we have this installed, again, the reminder, OCI package location is the one we created in the beginning, right? If we go over here to Flightplans on the side, on the left-hand side, we click on it, then obviously now under Installed tab, you will see all those packages which I have installed. Okay, guys, so now I want to show you something important as well. You might be thinking now, okay, if I would click online, there will be nothing because we have installed all the packages. Well, yes and no. Do you remember in the beginning when I disabled that section where it says disable all the manual downloads in case the files need to be downloaded manually? So if I click on online, there is 65 available packages still not installed. See? Generally, these are not the major airlines when I looked at it, but there might be something which you would like to have in your SIM. So, for example, let's just say I would like to have this West Atlantic UK airline, right? And since it's in the tab online and it's still not installed, then I can click on it right here. I can click install right there. And then there will be this pop-up window, which will tell you what is the coverage of this airline, how many aircraft are using these routes, and how many airports are covered in these flight plans and utilization of this particular airline. So I will click OCI install. There will be another window, which is install. So you click on it, and then the installation process starts. Some models, such as this one exactly, this situation what now happened, and that's why I wanted to show you that, is because in the beginning in that settings, I told you that I disabled all the manual installs, right? In order to make everything installed automatically without any interruption. That was exactly the reason. Because imagine that you let this installer run overnight and you have that manual install enabled, then some of these airlines will need you to do it manually and then it'll stop and it's not going to move until you do something about it. You can imagine what kind of mess you will run into, right? In that case, I just wanted to show you how it works. If this happens after you install all of it with that option disabled, then you just have to click OK. It'll take you to that AFSIM website. It'll automatically download, right? And then all you have to do, just go back, click OK, and then select that file which automatically downloaded, and it'll read the information from that file correctly. And now it's gonna finish in any second, and it'll be all installed. You see? There you go, it's done. So basically, to make it a little bit easier to understand, all these 64 OCI packages are here because all of them require manual download of that file from AFSIM. Now, do you really necessarily have to have it? Well, if you spot any airlines / flight plans in here which you are super interested to have in your simulator, because perhaps you know that at your local airport this airline is operating, then by any means you can go back here and just select one by one, whichever you prefer. Okay, so that was about the manual installation thing. Let me remind you quickly what I meant by that manual downloads disabled. So if you go to OCI on the corner here, and then down here, you have these warning messages since beginning when we started AIG Manager for the first time. And this is the one, manual downloads disabled. You see, I do not have it enabled, because if you have it enabled since beginning, that thing can happen somewhere in the middle of the installation of the whole package. And as I said, if you do run it overnight, for instance, and you go away from the computer, well, then guess what? It's gonna stop and it's gonna wait until you personally select that file manually. So that means what? That means that it's not gonna do anything else until you do that. And then you would wake up expecting this whole thing to be installed, and there you go, it's not done. So I strongly do recommend to keep it disabled, please. If you ever have this message, I'm not gonna do it now, but feel free to click on it and repair the missing panes. Usually it's a quick process. And then AIG AIM-OCI. This is one of our last steps in the AIG Manager, and it's a very important step. Okay, so please follow me. you have a couple options here. Let's just start with this install settings. So again, these two are checked by default, okay? Use freeware only and disable services. I would suggest to keep it this way. Now, you can click over here if you want to. This is optional. Use 2048 pixel textures, which will reduce the file size of the textures, but will result also in lower quality of the paints. I don't think this is necessary, as plenty of the PCs will handle it. And then you have a couple verification buttons. These are for if you are making any changes and you want to verify the setup, you can run that, and you can also verify textures if there are any errors. I wouldn't really say that you need to mess with this, to be honest. But what you need to be aware about, and what is really important, is this create link and move directory. Well, in this video specifically, we will talk about create link. As we have now this AIG AI Traffic-OCI file in the folder of our choice, and obviously it's not located in the community folder of MSFS 224. So you want to link it. You want to link it by using this create link. It's super easy process. I will demonstrate in a second. But before I show you how to do it, you may also use a third-party add-on linker. If any of you guys are using such software, feel free to use that and link it to your community folder. This specific folder, AIG-AI Traffic-OCI. But if you don't have things such as add-on linker, no worries at all, because that's what it is pretty much right here. So all you have to do is this. You would click create link, okay, once. Then it says, use this option only if your community directory no longer has valid link to your outside OCI directory, which is pretty much our case. We don't have any valid link which is linking to our new directory, right, of OCI package. So in the next window, select your AIG AI Traffic-OCI directory. On the next window, we will not be selecting, as you might think, the community folder. We will be selecting that OCI package folder which we created on different storage, the one where we installed OCI package folder. Okay, so follow me. We will click OK, and then I know that I have it in this PC, I have it in storage E, I have it under AIG Robert, and I have it right here. So I just select it like that. Okay, AIG-AI Traffic-OCI, and I click OK. Now it says restart AI Manager now. You click OK. All you have to do basically is just close it. Go again wherever is your AI Manager installed. And then open it again. You would have to make sure to select again MSFS 2024. Click OK. If it doesn't show for you, it means that you have only one simulator installed in your system. At least that's what it says on their website. So click OK and let the software start. It might take a little while over here. So if it's taking a little too long, I'll cut in the video, but it shouldn't be more than a minute or so. Okay, guys, so once you restart AI Manager, we will get to the main page again. There is this thing which says flight plan update. But since we have this flight plans update required, I would say let's just click update and let's see how long would it take. I believe it should be fairly quick process because usually it's just few flight plans which needs to update, but we'll see in a moment. Yes, as you can see, the progress bar jumped very far actually, so it looks like it's going to be only 3 packages, maybe 2, and there you go, it's almost finishing. Yeah, it was very quick. Okay, so now we pretty much finished with AIG Manager. Don't be confused when we look over here, OCI package location, you might be thinking, okay, now I'm expecting this to show the community folder. No, it's not gonna happen. However, I want to show you something. So if I minimize this for a moment, I have a link on my desktop to my community folder, and look over here. Let me just make it bigger. Medium icons and AIG-AI Traffic-OCI. What do you see? There is this folder, right? And there is a little kind of like an arrow pointing up on the sideways next to that folder, which basically is that link That's the link, which is linking that original OCI package, which we installed all the flight plans and all these data into. And in here, in the community folder, we just have that link. And this was created just by that create link button. Quick enough, super easy. I mean, anybody can do it. I just wanted to show you how it works, right? So you don't have to do nothing. Now in your community folder, the link exists. So it knows that it should read it through the link into the original file. Does it make sense? This is all done as far as the AIG manager goes, okay? The last step before we jump into SIM is to go to AIG website, and you want to download also the AIG Traffic Controller. So that will be under software. Again, I'll link all the links in the description. And this one over here, AIG Traffic Controller. Download it. When it's downloaded, just unzip it, and then we can open it. Traffic Controller, there will be message on initial startup. Traffic Controller will now be automatically updated. Well, this may happen, obviously, if there is some new updates, then this will show up. This is obvious. So I just click OK, and you just let it update. AIG Traffic Controller can update itself only when it's not started together with SIM. All right, so this is very important to understand. Was AIG Traffic Controller started using the auto start feature of Prepare 3D? No, absolutely not in my case. So I click no. And then you just press any key, and then it'll restart. And notice that that drop-down menu, again, because I have two SIMs installed in my system, even though I don't use MSFS 220 anymore, but it's still installed there. That's why it gives me this option. It's not between the letters, like with the AIG Manager. It's underneath Traffic Controller right here. It's very small, the gray box. Now it looks empty, but if you click on drop-down menu, it gives you these two options. If you have both SIMs. If you don't, it shouldn't give you this option at all. At least, again, that's what the website says. So I click MSFS 224 because, again, we want to run it in 24 and click OK. Then you will get this loading window, and this might take some time as well. So I will cut into video. It's not long, guys. It should be probably around 2 minutes, really, or so. But anyways, I'll cut into video so we don't have to wait here for no reason. Okay, so when the traffic controller loads, you will be presented with this window. And as you can see, up and running, well, it just means that it's running this particular traffic controller. Then there is a simple option here, which says traffic injector. Activity level is set 100% by default. You can absolutely keep it, and do keep it this way, please. I mean, you can lower the activity level, but for the best experience, I suggest to keep it at 100. And then this ground operation thing. Well, to be honest, I strongly suggest to keep it disabled. I tried to enable it the other day, and it's quite messy. Basically, it injects loads of the ground traffic, like the loaders, the little minivans, and things like that. But it kind of looks like and then you have some timetable. I'm not going to go through that. You can mess with that on your own. Just kind of explore it. And settings. Here are a few more settings available. So use AIG Flightplans. Of course, this is set by default. Do not mess with that. And auto injection on startup. So that means that when you start traffic controller, once you are in the SIM, spawn at the airport, okay? Please do not start it before. It's no I mean, you can. Nothing is gonna happen, but there could be certain conflicts. I suggest to start it after you are at the airport with the aircraft of your selection, spawn at the gate. Then you start traffic controller. And because this is checked, it'll start injecting the traffic on its own. You don't have to press anything like inject, nothing like that. It just has to be open. That's all, pretty much. The AIG manager doesn't have to be open, okay? It doesn't have to be open once you are ready to inject traffic. Only traffic controller. If you're going to use this as injector, of course, okay? Then activity level, again, it repeats. You can slide it and change the different percentage. And then inject traffic, even though it does say inject traffic here, it does work even with without clicking on it because auto injection is selected. If it's unselected, you would have to click on inject traffic. You can also delete traffic, self-explanatory. Let us jump into sim and I will show you 3 different injections. We will take a look at traffic controller, how it injects that AIG models into the sim. How does it look? Just very quickly, very briefly. Then I'll show you Beyond ATC, and then we can take a look at FSLTL. And you will have an idea that all of them are able to inject the AIG models. Let us jump into sim and we'll briefly take a look how it all works. All right, guys, so we are in the sim. I have loaded Boston Airport, KBOS. Very nice scenery, by the way. As you can see, the airport is empty because when you are loading the airport and you want to use AIG traffic or any other traffic, you have to disable the live traffic in the sim settings, so keep it off. We're gonna open the AI traffic controller first. Then we'll get this loading screen, so we have to select MSFS 224 and click OK. And now we'll wait. Again, it takes a little bit of time here. Be patient a little bit with this one. Then I'm gonna move it over here. So as you can see, it says up and running. So that's the status of the software. And now it starts reading the airplanes. You see, automatically, I haven't pressed anything because we have auto injection on. And as you can see, the AIG models are appearing little by little. It really depends where you are, the location. So as Boston is quite busy and big airport, we have loads of models loaded. So at this point, it's still reading a little bit. We are at 170. It says clearly, see, 170 airplanes are around you. We have some Delta here, Delta connection, the smaller aircraft. Very nice model. Everything looks good. If you are unaware, guys, AIG models have one thing which FSLTL doesn't, as far as I know. They have working flaps. And also, if the airplanes landing, when the airplanes are landing, the AIG models, they are using the speed brakes, so they will be visible if you are standing somewhere close to the runway. Of course, this is not a runway simulator, but then it's a nice detail. The lights are working very well. I tested it the other day in the evening. The performance is still amazing, and imagine you have about 170 aircrafts around us. That counts also aircrafts in the proximity to land and all the aircrafts from the airport. So let's just take a quicker look what we have here. We have Alaska, we have Aer Lingus, Airbus A330, really nice model as well. If we go closer, you know, very nice. I like it a lot. We have some DHL in the back, Condor, Emirates, then Delta Airlines. We have few big Deltas over here. We have some American Airlines here. Also very nice model. JetBlues. Different variations of different JetBlues. So you can see the Airbus A319, is it? I think so. It does have a different livery. It's still JetBlue, but it's different. That one over there in distance is different than the second one. Pretty nice. So the variations are awesome. Also the models. We have more JetBlues over here. We have some Delta aircrafts. Again, more JetBlues. Very popular airline in the United States. Plenty of JetBlues. Deltas, different models. We have some more United here. The Airbus A319, is it as well? I think, yeah. And we have another Delta over here. A few Spirits, which also very nice models. Nice livery. The typical Spirit Airlines. We have another Delta over here. We have some airplanes already taxiing to active runway. I'm not sure if you can guys notice, but the performance on my system is excellent with all these aircrafts. No hiccups whatsoever. Also because this airport is very well optimized, in my opinion. You know, there are some airports which are worse, some airports which are better. As you can see, it's working, it's ejecting. This is all AIG models. I don't have any FSLTL models. I have deleted that. The only difference, right, specifically between the Beyond ATC and Beyond FTC and AIG Traffic Injector is that it's assigning the aircrafts to various gates, but not technically the way how it's supposed to. I'm talking now about the AIG Traffic Controller. As you see, we have this Italian Airways standing at the Delta. This should be only Delta terminal over here in the back of the airport in Boston. So you should see only Deltas around, but there is a mixture of JetBlues, Deltas, United, even the Italian Airways. You have some Air Canada. So it doesn't supposed to be this way, right? Where the Beyond ATC, on the other hand, it does inject, and we'll see it in a moment, it does inject those airplanes in correct spots, which is amazing, by the way. But if you don't have Beyond ATC and you want to somehow have your AIG models injected, well, this is the way to go. It does work. It does still have some bugs, yes, it does, but it does work. There is no performance issues using that injector, at least not in my system, and you will get pretty busy airport, as you can see. This is enough of the traffic controller. I am going to turn it off. So basically, if I just close it, it'll disappear. You see, all the models are gone because I closed the injector. All right, guys, so now we will test it with Beyond ATC. This is, by the way, the best combination you can do if you have your AIG models all installed. For the purpose of this video, I will purposely crank it all the way to 10 to have as much activity at the airport as possible. And then we just hit fly and let's see how does it work. So it's gonna wait for connection. Of course, a little downside of Beyond ATC is that you should create a flight plan via SimBrief, and then in order to have that correct traffic at the airport of your destination and also the departure, you should have that flight plan because it's reading basically the data of your SimBrief flight plan, right? So it's initializing traffic. It might take a while. Usually it's about a minute before everything starts. And then you can also open this little map, this icon over here. And then all of these blue aircrafts will be the traffic injected. Now it's taking a moment because it's reading all the models, and very soon, yes, it's spawning the aircrafts right now. So I'm gonna just minimize it for a moment, and immediately you can see that the aircrafts are injected, and it does look differently now because obviously we have a Beyond ATC injecting the traffic and also assigning it to correct gates. We have, but look at the variety, guys. This is something what I love about AIG. We have some retro United livery over here. Amazing, nice looking one. Never seen it before, to be honest, but it looks awesome. We have this type of United, the modern version of United over here. If we continue this way, we have more Uniteds over here, 757. Then we have American, because this is the American Airlines terminal. So you will see all the American Airlines. And in the back, in the distance, that's Delta. So as you can see, Beyond ATC does excellent job by injecting the aircrafts on correct spots at the airports. That's where they belong to. That's basically the assigned gates, right, for specific airlines. And you can even see it on the jetways. If you look over here, Delta represents the Delta terminal, basically. So that's why we can see all the Deltas. And now if you compare it to traffic injector by AIG, it does completely different job, right? Where Beyond ATC excel. If you ask me, I go for Beyond ATC 100%. So again, you have all those variations, Delta Sky Team, another Delta Sky Team, different models, different colors. It's just amazing. I absolutely love it, guys. And I think that you will as well. If you install all the packages, you will be absolutely amazed. Now, one thing to mention, and this is quite important because you might be thinking, oh, it's not working. I don't see any traffic moving. With Beyond ATC, it does take a while before it kicks in. Okay, you have to give it a little bit of time before you start things happening, like before you start pushing back, taxiing, landing, departing. Usually a good 5 minutes, you know, before it kind of kicks in. Believe me, it does work. In a moment, I'm gonna tune to radio so you can also listen the traffic. So we have Virgin Atlantic over here, although it's at the JetBlue possibly terminal, so it might be some bug over there. This should be all JetBlues, but I'm already hearing some engines going on, so some aircraft is about to leave. We have, there you go, this one is being pushed back. Okay, so let's continue over here. We have some Avianca, and back here should be those bigger kind of jets. We have a Lufthansa and some Delta at the end. Of course, it depends on the time of the day, what needs to be parked there, which is controlled all by Beyond ATC at the moment. Also, this is something I wanted to show you. You see, we have these dashes, aircraft models. In this case, this airline called Porter. I haven't seen it before, but it's pretty cool. So there you have it. The AIG models are loaded properly into SIM. If you look from this view, you can see that the airport is pretty populated with all those aircrafts. Again, guys, you have to understand when you start it, you have to give it a little bit of time until you see basically the busy movement at the airport, because it takes a little bit of time to kick in to get all the information via Beyond ATC of departing, arriving aircraft. In the distance over here, we can see we have another one taxiing to active runway, to correct active runway in this case, which will be 22 right. Let me actually check if we tuned into correct ground. No, we haven't. But I can tune to tower of 22 right, which is this one.
JetBlue 2215, ready to go. Runway 22 right.
JetBlue 2215, Boston Tower, wind variable, are nav to Burrow, runway 22 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 22 right, our NAV to Burrow, cleared for takeoff. JetBlue 2215.
There you have it, guys. It's perfect. It's amazing. Now you can imagine, you know, if you are one of those people like myself who really care about the realism, and you have finally that beautiful traffic around yourself and you hear all the communications, it really does add to realism. So the biggest benefit for me personally of AIG traffic models is the variation. You get the variation of plenty of models, liveries, textures, you know, which kind of represents the real world, where with FSLTL you will not get by far as many as you get with AIG. Am I saying that FSLTL is garbage? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am one of those people who were using it plenty of times. But if I have to choose, I'm very sorry, I have to be honest, AIG is the way to go. What I'm gonna do now, guys, because I don't want to spend 3-4 hours in this video. It's already a long video because of the process of the installation. But as you can see, the things started happening. We have more traffic moving, you know, taxiing to active runway. So things are working amazing. And that's why I said in the beginning, having Beyond ATC combined with AIG traffic, you will get the best possible experience. Okay, guys, so now we have FSLTL open. I'm gonna run injector, okay? Bear in mind, I need to mention this just for you to understand and to know. I have deleted the FSLTL base package models from my community folder. So the injector from FSLTL will run now, and it'll read the models from AIG only, just to make it clear. And before I confirm it, as usual, notice something over here. Models / liveries found. 8,277. So it knows that there are actually models installed. And again, guys, I have deleted FSLTL models. So it's only reading the AIG package, okay? All you have to do now, click enter, because I don't want to mess with it anymore. I have already set it. You may have your own settings, you all know. Those people who are using FSLTL, you know what I'm talking about. So just hit enter. I can now minimize it, and let's wait for injection. So any moment now we should start seeing the aircrafts being injected into SIM by FSLTL injector. It's happening already. We can see here JetBlue, Spirit Airlines. Now you will see one big difference in a moment. Let's just wait until all of the aircrafts are injected. So first thing first to point out, and you might have already noticed it, with FSLTL injector, you will get the jetways connect to aircrafts. This is actually a very nice feature. It's actually a very good thing. I completely agree with some people who left the comments before that jetways are connected to those aircrafts, which is awesome because as you noticed, if you noticed, with Beyond ATC and Traffic Injector by AIG, it doesn't happen. But with FSLTL, it does happen. Although in this case, this aircraft over here, the jetway didn't connect for some reason. Maybe they are about to leave, I'm not sure. And this one also didn't connect. This one also, these also. Maybe these jetways are not operating at this airport. I'm not really sure, guys. I cannot say. But these jetways over here, they do connect. And they did connect it. Now, is it working? Well, it is. As you can see, we have moving aircraft. But something I want to mention, because I don't want to make you disappointed at some point. I don't know if it was some mistake before, but when I tested it a couple days ago, what really happened, I didn't have any traffic moving. The aircrafts were injected, but nothing was moving. So I don't really know if it was just the day, if it was something corrupted. It could have been, but it did happen to me before. When I was running FSLTL injector, injecting AIG models, no models were moving whatsoever. They were just staying at the gate for like freaking 30 minutes. But another thing, as you can see, those two aircrafts are just about to run over each other. Because FSLTL is not really controlling so-called traffic correctly, right? So this is something expected, I would say. Because we all know that FSLTL is not full ATC, it's just a traffic injector. What does it mean? Can you have it without having Beyond ATC? Of course, as you can see, it does work. Let's say that you are running, say, intentions for ATC, and you want to have a traffic injected around yourself, then by any means use FSLTL, which is free, the traffic injector, with AIG models. That's also an option. Or you can use the other injector by AIG with AIG models. That's another option. And then you can use independently the SI ATC, say intentions, if you don't have Beyond ATC, or if you prefer not to use Beyond ATC. Again, there's plenty of options to use it, right? But does it work? We're talking here about models. That's why the whole video, right? Installing the flight plans and models by AIG. Well, this is successful. It does work. You can see that the airplanes are spawned at the gates. They are injected. They are moving. So there is absolutely no issues, and those models are, in my opinion, very decent. They have plenty of varieties, and I am super happy with this package of AIG. AIG, hands down, thank you guys, whoever is behind developing this whole software, hands down, honestly, like, thank you so much. I know it involves lots of work, I can only imagine, although the downside of the whole AIG installation is the length. Like, the time spent on the whole process is definitely much longer than doing it with FSLTL. But then on the other hand, the end result is something what I care about, and seeing those many models, those many varieties, this is something what is absolutely satisfactory to me. Go ahead and try it if you want to, but please follow all the steps. If you don't want to have any issues, you need to follow every single step I have covered in this video. Performance-wise, again, guys, this is something that hugely depends on your systems. You know, everybody has a different PC. You all have different graphic cards, different CPUs, different systems altogether. I cannot guarantee that someone will fire it up and maybe you're gonna say, oh, I'm not having such a smooth FPS like you, such a smooth experience, it's all freezing, I don't know what. Well, consider what type of computer do you have. You know, it obviously needs strong PC. Of course, please remember, it also depends on the optimization of the specific airport you are using, because I know that some airports are just optimized perfectly fine and some other ones may be optimized differently, and then you may run into some performance issues, not because of the traffic, but because of the airport. I hope I helped you guys. Let me meet you in my future videos, and I wish you a wonderful day or wonderful evening. Again, depends where you are watching from. I would like to also say a huge thank you to all the supporters, followers, viewers, because I have finally reached that threshold of 1,000 subscribers yesterday, which makes me extremely happy. That thank you belongs to you, because I wouldn't done it if it wasn't for you guys watching my videos and subscribing to my channel. So I would like to express my gratitude and say thank you very much. I'll see you next time, and you take care and happy flying.